Whether you are thinking of moving to Calgary from Edmonton, or maybe you're just planning on trying to figure out which city you're going to live in, you're going to get a lot out of today's video. Even though we are in Calgary, this is not going to be one of those bash Edmonton or praise Calgary type videos. I want to share some differences of the two cities so you can make some educated decisions on where you're going to live. We're going to cover 4 main sections today, from transportation, quality of life, cost of living and ownership in the two cities, as well as how to choose the right neighborhood. But first, some basic stats. Calgary is about 1.6 million people and Edmonton is about 1.5 million people. Edmonton is also the capital of Alberta. Calgary is about 825 kilometers squared, where Edmonton is about 684 kilometers squared. The average after-tax income for the household in Calgary is about $87,000, where in Edmonton's about $84,000. But both cities are above the Canadian average, which is around $73,000. And Calgary has a larger immigrant population, which gives Calgary a little bit more of a diverse culture, which is about 31.5% of our population, where Edmonton is about 26%. Both cities have ring roads that go around the whole city that kind of make commuting a little bit easier. Edmonton's has been done for a while, and Calgary's, well, we're still waiting for it to be finished. Edmonton's is about 78 kilometers round trip, where Calgary's, once done, will be about 92 kilometers round trip. So driving around and spending time in rush hour can be kind of a bummer, right? So I looked up some stats and I found some interesting things that in Edmonton, you spend on average about 135 hours actually in rush hour every year. Calgary is closer to 110 hours every year. I mean, this is compared to Toronto and Vancouver, where you're spending nearly 200 hours in rush hour in those two cities. I'm actually going to be honest with you. Driving around Edmonton can be a little bit easier if you don't know where you're going, because they use a grid pattern in their road names and just how to get around. Calgary's a little more difficult, just in the sense that there's a lot more like Anderson roads and like Nose Hill drives, a lot of names instead of numbers. So getting around Edmonton can be a lot easier. It's also important to note how far typically people live from where they work. Now, I know the last number of years have changed things, a lot more work from home situations, but still it's really important. And what was interesting is 65.4% of those living in Edmonton live within 10 kilometers of their work. And at the same time, Calgary has about 75% of its population living within 10 kilometers of where they work. Now, for those of you that don't drive and take public transit, Calgary and Edmonton both have very robust systems, right? They're big cities. In Q1 of 2023, there was an average daily commuter of about 240,000 individuals in Calgary, and the only stat I could find was 2018 for Edmonton, and that was about 113. So we can assume that's definitely higher, but Calgary has a lot more riders, and from everything I read online, has a more robust and larger LRT system than Edmonton does for sure. The monthly passes for the two different cities are around $100 per month for Edmonton and about $112, $115 for Calgary. So now comes quality of life. What are these two cities like? What's different? And how do they rank on lots of different reports? Well, the Economist Intelligence Unit recently ranked Calgary as the 7th most livable city globally, and Edmonton on that same list was ranked 60th. Now, on another report that we saw, it was called the Happiest Cities in Canada report. I mean, what a great name, right? That had Calgary ranked as the 51st happiest city in all of Canada, and Edmonton was ranked 88th. This was put together by a company called Townhomes. And so it begs to differ that, sure, you can look at all these reports, you can look at all these stats, you can look at all these numbers and lists, but reality is you kind of have to get a feel for what it's like living in these cities. Like, we're out in Bowness Park today shooting, and you got to find these areas that you love, areas that you want to be around, because whether it's friends, whether it's location, whether it's parks like this that you want to live near, that actually can increase the quality of life that all of these lists and rankings and data just can't really help understand. And if parks and land and places and green spaces are really, really important, at Calgary just edges out Edmonton with 7 hectares per 1,000 people for Calgary, and Edmonton is 6.2 hectares for every 1,000 people in Edmonton. So these two cities are very, very close when it comes to these types of living in terms of, green spaces and parks and areas and being able to get out and just touch the foliage. So if you are a dog family, dog person, and you love your pets, specifically dogs, having dog parks around the city and around where you're living is really important. And Calgary crushes Edmonton with 158 dog parks in Calgary compared to 43 dog parks in Edmonton. So cost of living also comes into play in terms of the feeling and the quality of life that you can have. So Edmonton is a little bit cheaper when it comes to consumer prices, about 4.2% when you take out rent. Restaurants are roughly the same, and the other place that Edmonton is a slight little bit lower is 1.6% less for buying groceries in Edmonton than it is in Calgary. All right, so you may be wondering, how much is it gonna cost to live in Calgary versus Edmonton? I mean, Calgary has been booming. There's been a lot of people moving here, and there's been a lot of changes in Calgary. I can't say the same for Edmonton, because when you look at their numbers, they haven't had the same growth in terms of population as well as increases in their real estate prices, because increase in real estate prices are a function of supply and demand. So if there's more demand and less supply, prices will go up, and we haven't seen that as much in Edmonton. And when we've been talking to people, a lot of them, when they're moving from other areas of the country, are choosing Calgary right now, but I could see them moving to Edmonton as well in the future. So let's jump into the numbers and comparison between Calgary versus Edmonton and a few of their property types. All of the numbers that I'm going to talk about here are all from June 2023. So we're going to assume that you have 10% down for all of these different property types, as well as a mortgage of about 4.99%. Doesn't matter if it's 3.5, variable, whatever. We're just going to go off of those numbers to make it very, very simple. In Edmonton, the median price there is $370,000, which is a decrease of 3% year over year. Calgary is at $510,000, which is actually a 9.7 increase year over year. That also comes with Edmonton's mortgage amount on that price being about $1,935 per month, while Calgary is about $2,667 per month for the mortgage. Now again, we're talking about two different price points, but you kind of have the mortgage numbers in there to kind of understand how much it could cost to live there for that type of home, or just the average property in the whole market. But that doesn't give the whole picture, so let's jump into like detached homes. So detached homes in Edmonton are sitting right now about $450,000 for their median price, which is a 2.2% decrease compared to last year. And Calgary is sitting at $650,000 for their detached homes. So there's a $200,000 difference on the median price for detached homes in Edmonton versus Calgary. So if you look at the mortgage amounts, your mortgage in Edmonton is going to be about $2,353 per month, where Calgary is $3,399. So essentially $3,400 per month. Now what's interesting is you have property taxes. So what I found, and I was really surprised by this, is between the two cities, you're actually paying nearly the same for a detached home priced $200,000 less in Edmonton as you are for a $650,000 house in Calgary for your property taxes, which are right around $4,251 in Edmonton and $4,271 in Calgary. So your property taxes for the value of your home are a lot higher in Edmonton than they are in Calgary. And so that got me thinking, if property taxes have that much of a difference, then what is it compared to the same price? So if we took a $650,000 house in Edmonton or a $650,000 house in Calgary, you would be paying about $1,870 more per year in property taxes in Edmonton, which is a colder city and winter lasts longer. So it's up to you. So let's talk about townhomes now. So townhomes in Edmonton, Their median price is about $254,000, which is a 1.2% year-over-year increase. And Calgary is a $395,000 median price, which is a 14.3% year-over-year increase in Calgary. So there is a ton of demand in Calgary for townhomes right now, and there actually is a decent amount of demand for townhomes in Edmonton. Again, your mortgage price for those two different property types are going to be $1,328 in Edmonton and $2,066 in Calgary. But maybe you're more of a condo person. Maybe you want to have that 1, 2, maybe 3-bedroom condo, 2+ den, whatever it is, and that's the lifestyle that you're going after. Well, condos in Edmonton, the median price is actually $171,000, which is a 5.7% decrease year over year. And Calgary is at $280,000 median price, which is 13.7% increase. So if you're gonna buy a condo and you wanna have a little bit more future potential in the growth of that, Calgary might be the better place to do that over Edmonton, just for basically, again, supply and demand and what people are wanting when they go to the city. Now, your mortgage in Edmonton is only going to be $895 a month with 10% down at 4.99% interest. That was very salesy, but you get it. In Calgary, it's going to be $1,464 per month. Choosing the right community and where you're going to live in whatever city you choose, if you're moving to Calgary or even considering moving to Edmonton, is really, really important. You want to know kind of where the location is, what people do there, what is around there, what can you drive to, what are your neighbors going to be like, what is the demographic, who are the typical people that are buying in there, is there going to be a good uptick in value, is there going to be things being developed behind your house. I mean, the list goes on and on and on when it comes to trying to figure out exactly where you're going to live. And to be honest, if you've watched the video this far, you are really invested in Calgary or Edmonton. So let's have a conversation. We have a PDF guide. If you email us at info@chamberlaingroup.ca, I will send it to you personally. We only use it for our clients. So go ahead and email us, as well as maybe head over to this video here, because I know you're going to like it.